Hello everybody and welcome back to the Hampshire Business Show. My name is Chris Pastrana and today we're here with Ashleigh Nelson of Cod Craftery. Now we're going to get to a quick word from our sponsors here before we get into this interview, where we're really going to get into working at the community level and how big box stores are great, but taking it down to that the individuals who actually make some of these custom products and how we should be really looking at that level. So everyone hold tight for just a moment and we're going to get going. If you want a lawn care company, anything outside, lawn care, pesticides, any of those things, I've got something for you. So head over to nhbusinessshow.com/project quoting and take a look at the program today. 14-day free trial just for you. Jump on over and see how this can help your business out today. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Hampshire Business Show. My name is Chris Pastrana and today I am here with Ashleigh Nelson of Cod Craftery.
Hello.
How's it going, Ashleigh?
So good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on the show.
It's awesome to be here.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot of fun. Just so you know. I'm letting you know it's a lot of fun.
I'm ready for fun.
Cool. So let's get started. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me about your business a little bit, kind of where it all began.
Yeah. So I grew up on Cape Cod. So I'm a relatively new resident of Manchester, New Hampshire, last couple of years. And I really kind of started the foundations for the Cape Cod Craftery in 2014. I had just graduated from college and was kind of looking for something to do, so I started crafting. I'd always liked to make jewelry and do crafty kind of things.
Yeah.
And kind of decided to pursue that passion for a little while and see where it went. So
Pull the microphone a little closer.
Oh, yeah. So I started making stuff. I put up a website. I took some photos. My best friend kind of was getting into photography, so we did a little bit of photography work. And then I did some craft fairs and stuff. But then kind of life got in the way, and I got a new job, and I got really busy, and I met my husband, and it kind of fell by the wayside. So now that we've moved into a house and we have more room and more time, it was sort of a good opportunity to start up again.
Yeah.
So now I've really gone full force at it, and I brought the website back. I introduced some new product lines. I'm trying to do some more community events, get into stores, that kind of thing. So,
Okay.
It's been a great year for me to start up again.
Okay, so what product do you guys make? You said you make them. So what do you guys do?
So everything is handmade by me. I make a variety of different blankets. I do scarves, jewelry, home goods, wood burned stuff, etched glass, basically just a lot of home decor stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of hygge.
No.
It's a Danish concept. The word itself has Norwegian roots, and it comes from the word meaning well-being. So it's sort of this concept of like coziness almost. So think of things that make you feel kind of warm and fuzzy, like Christmas morning type feeling, or crisp fall evenings when you want to put on a blanket and fuzzy socks and have a cup of cocoa or something like that. It's just inspired by this concept of comfort and togetherness and well-being of the soul. So all of the products that I try to introduce in my line have that sort of in mind.
Okay.
So they are things that take quite a while to make usually. It takes me upwards of 20 hours to make a blanket. And, it could be 3-4 hours to make some of the wood burn stuff I do. So there's a lot of time investment in the products, and then the hope is that people want to give them as gifts for other people. So taking kind of that good feeling from my home and bringing it to somebody else's home is kind of the inspiration.
Okay, so what was the word?
Hygge. It's Hyggge.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah.
Hyggge. Cool.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Cool?
And I kind of like that concept of, you kind of have almost the baseline for your products. Like, okay, you go at it from this approach.
Yes.
It's a very simple but effective way to keep that in mind when you start creating things, so you don't kind of get crazy and off tangent, you know.
Yeah. It's the Danish people are known for being some of the happiest people too. They're consistently rated, in terms of quality of life as being some of the happiest and simplest living people. So it's kind of nice to bring that concept here and try to, especially how fast paced and technology based we are and everything. It's nice to have some of like the simpler home comforts too. And growing up on Cape Cod, sort of having this element of, I call it elegance and simplicity, because kind of, New England is known for their historical charm and their coastal seaside villages and their, farmland, countryside.
Yeah.
And tourists flock here for that reason, to see that kind of simple lifestyle. And it's amazing that we have this kind of elegance in the simplicity of our lifestyle. So that's all kind of ties together to inspire my products.
You said sort of Hampshire is kind of basic, you were saying? Or was that
kind
Cape
of
Cod?
Basic?
Really?
No. I mean, like all of New England just kind of has this very like laid back. I mean, our roots are from a people that farmed their land and took pride in making their own items, back hundreds of years ago. And I would like to bring that into the present, like have people appreciate the goods in their home and not necessarily get everything kind of store-bought, like bring it back to community roots, to farmers markets, to artisans, to hand makers, and remind people that there's a lot of love and time and effort that goes into making things, and those things will ultimately probably last you longer too. Yeah.
And it's kind of funny that you bring this all up, because I think about a lot of people's homes when I walk in, and I know my house has this problem where everything's just very bland, where we don't spend a whole lot of time decorating, and I see that a lot when I go to people's houses, and you lose a little bit when there's nothing in the house. Like it's just white walls and then whatever.
You need something cozy, something that's yours, that represents your family.
Something that it's more than just like that bland template. Create a home,
right?
So I like
and
that.
It's an atmosphere and a feeling.
Atmosphere is probably a little better word. It's pretty cool.
Thanks.
I like that.
Thank you.
I'm not quite sure where to go with after that. But so we got our very basic New Hampshire people, as you were saying.
Simple.
Simple. Really simple. What was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say.
It's okay.
Oh, whatever. I do it all the time. So,
now I've given you all these ideas about hookah. Now you're decorating your house in your head.
In my head, So you mentioned you make blankets and stuff.
Yes.
Like, what type of approaches do you typically use with the blanket making? Do you crochet? Do you knit? Do you...
Yep, it's all crochet. I don't have the skills to knit. If somebody out there will teach me someday, I'd love to learn. But yeah, my mom actually taught me how to crochet a few years ago. And it's very time consuming, but it's very kind of therapeutic. There are people out there that can make these incredibly complex patterns and, sit and count stitches, and I can't get into any of that. Like, I like to do it while I'm watching TV or while I'm spending time with my husband at the end of the night when I'm trying to unwind. I like to just pick up a piece and work on it, and kind of sticking with the more simplistic patterns not only fits in kind of with my brand, but it allows me to be kind of present also. Like, I can talk to people while I'm working, or I can do something or sit out in nature. Like, I don't have to sit and be counting stitches or anything like that. So yeah, I stick to crochet. But
that's cool. My wife crochets. That's why
really?
I laugh, because I always call it knitting. It makes her angry.
So does my husband. Yep.
So I call it knitting, and then
it's all inclusive.
My daughter can't crochet. She can knit. So for her, I call it crocheting.
And
it's the funniest thing, because it confuses
You drive them both crazy?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's like the funniest thing.
That's funny.
So I get a real good kick out of just inverting them, because then they start doing it too. And it drives them crazy. So for your jewelry, how do you work on your jewelry? Like, what type of stuff do you put together? I guess.
It's mostly, I try to do mostly stone. It's all beadwork, so it's stone and glass beads for the most part. Sometimes I do multi-strand necklaces and bracelets and that kind of thing. The style is I really like monochromatic style. I love to do just a single color in a range of different hues. I just really like this kind of simplistic style of that. But everything I make has almost try to incorporate different textures. So keeping in mind the landscape and nature, like there are some elements of stone, there are some elements of a little bit of sparkle. There's I have some beads that are kind of like a matte finish. So trying to almost speak a little bit to landscape textures.
Yeah.
It's not very obvious, but I kind of try to keep it in mind in my designs too.
Okay. That's kind of interesting. So when you design these things, because sometimes it seems like there probably is a little more to it than just grabbing some beads and here you go. Because you're trying to almost design a whole concept around what you're creating, if I'm getting that correct.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So like what type of, because it sounds like you almost have to be creative for this. Like a little creative.
A little.
Or
a
kinda
little.
What's the process behind that? Is it?
I don't think it's inaccessible to anyone. I think anybody could come up with something and be really proud of it. But it's funny you say that. There are some days I go into the store to pick up beads or pick up, any really project supply, but mostly for beads. And I'm sure you've been in a craft store before and you've seen like the massive wall of beads. And there are some days where I just have a handful in 5 minutes, and then there are some days I go in and I just don't feel inspired by anything. So I don't know if it's like a feeling or kind of where the inspiration comes from, but sometimes I'll just kind of stare at the wall for a while and I'll find one strand of beads or one style or one color that I just have to have, that I just love, and then I'll try to find things that accent that or find things that complement that, and more often than not they end up being in the same color range just because that's kind of just what I like. So I end up having all these cool pieces that are different shades of blues or different shades of greens, and I try to branch out once in a while to reach kind of diversify a little bit. So I've done some pendant necklaces lately, which are cool, but I always find myself gravitating back to the original style.
That's funny. So we've talked a good bit about your product. Now, we kind of talked a little bit about where it all began all this time ago. Yeah. But at what point did you kind of just sit there and you're like, I want to turn this into a business?
So actually something else that I haven't really touched on yet, but I guess that was a little bit of a catalyst for it. I've spent a couple of years now working for environmental nonprofits, and it was almost born out of necessity. I spent all this time working with marine mammals and learning about them and teaching the public good habits for taking care of the environment, and I've worked on whale watch boats and tried to teach people about marine debris and throwing away trash and encouraging people to not use disposable plastics and that kind of stuff. We have a whole campaign going right now called Skip the Straw, where we try to encourage people at restaurants to pass on taking a straw if you can just sip your drink out of a cup. Like, why throw away a piece of plastic? And because I've been made aware of that over and over again and really become in tune to it over the last couple of years, I started really being disappointed with the products that I bought in the stores, and kind of the disposable nature of things, and even products that were marketed as being natural or being environmentally friendly were packaged in plastic. So you'd use the bottle or whatever and you throw it in the trash, and or they'd have plastic shrink wrap on it or bubble wrap on it. And I got so frustrated trying to find products that I felt good about representing, especially seeing all the trash we clean up off beaches and, on the whale watch boats, that I kind of had this in my mind the whole time, and then just kept getting more and more frustrated with like the lack of availability of environmentally conscious companies, that I was already doing these craft projects. I was already doing blankets and I was already making jewelry. And then I thought, if I'm going to market this stuff and I'm going to sell it, I'm not going to use disposable plastics. I'm not going to use bubble wrap. I'm not going to I'm working on a body care line too right now. I don't package any of it in plastic. It's all reusable glass containers. And then I also I have a little line of candles too.
Yeah.
And I love candles. It's, ties into the whole concept of the hygge, like having, candles and comfort. And so I always have candles burning, but I was noticing a lot of health effects just from constantly having an artificial candle burning and having petroleum wax burning and stuff like that. And so I started working on research for a candle line that wouldn't cause problems. I was noticing like all kinds of like lung problems and breathing problems, and I mean, I can't say for sure that was the cause, but I'm sure it didn't help either. So I started working on developing products just with a more natural element involved, as natural as possible. So the candle line that I ended up making was not without numerous challenges, but but I'm really happy with the end result, where it's soy wax with no additives, it's clean burning, and it's in a little glass mason jar that you could just wash out and reuse when you're done with the candle. It's fragrance with essential oils, 100% pure essential oils. There's no artificial fragrances or anything in it. The wick is cotton and beeswax. There's no lead core or anything like that. So I guess to answer your original question, I started out having all these crafts, and then I wanted to bring it together with the environmentally friendly aspect of it and produce a company and a brand and a product that didn't sacrifice the quality or the kind of luxury of these items, but still encouraged environmental awareness too. So I guess all of those things together kind of combined to create this, and now we have the house and we have a little more space and a little more time, and it was just kind of the perfect storm of things happening for this to be the right year for it.
Yeah, definitely. So was there ever a point where, now we talked about when you knew you wanted to do, was there ever a point where you were just worried that it wasn't going to work at all?
Oh my goodness, every day. I mean, everything is trial and error, and everybody has to begin somewhere, right? So this is all, everything I do is new to me. When I really wanted to start, going into the legalities of things and making sure I had licenses and insurance and all that kind of stuff, I would read through the paperwork to try to figure out how I wanted to set up my company, and I'd have to stop every 5 minutes and Google this word or look up that word and learn about this term. So it took me almost a week just to get through setting up paperwork and bank accounts and all that stuff. And now every day is a learning process. I'm working on some craft fairs right now, and I'm doing research to try to see how people set up their booths, or to learn about how to price things effectively and how to set up and all that stuff. So every day is another learning curve, but I mean, if it's something you're passionate about, it ends up being fun anyway. So. Yeah,
which is actually, that's a lot of this is really good touching points for small businesses, because you make a product that's unique to you, right? And it's not like you have a whole lot to compare it to out there.
Right.
So how do you price, a candle that you just made, or a blanket you crocheted? There's a lot of ins and outs of that, maybe they wouldn't pay it if, I'm $20 an hour and I'm going to 20 hours to make a blanket. Maybe someone might not buy that.
Sure. Yep.
So how do we price these things? And it's a pretty interesting, area to sit and deal with. So I can see that being trouble.
Yeah, it does occasionally. It almost, you kind of know when it feels right, I guess. It's not that I do guesswork on my pricing. Like, obviously there's components to it where you have to think about the cost, and I'm constantly looking for wholesalers or companies that are still in line with my values, but can produce maybe more of the product at a lower cost. So I try to maximize the output in that way. But the other component to that is how valuable your time is to you. And I think that I undersell myself a little bit, because I kind of feel like, well, I'd probably be doing this anyway with my free time. So it doesn't feel like I'm sitting down and working. I'm not sitting down and working on making a blanket. Like, I'd be crocheting or stringing beads or making candles anyway. So I probably don't charge as much as I could, but to me it's just not as much work, you know. So I pay myself for my time, but minimally.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's challenging. I mean, it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
So
I forget the quote. I spoke with someone, I forget what she had said, but she said, you know, your prices are right when I think it was 80% were willing to buy and 20% say it's too expensive or something on those lines. And it's like, yeah, okay, your pricing's probably about where it needs to be.
You're getting it out the door, so
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, you're selling it. Because if 100% of people are buying, you're selling it too cheap.
Yeah,
you know.
That's true.
Yeah, so pretty cool. Okay, so we're gonna break real quick here for a word from our sponsors, and then we're gonna have some other questions to ask, and we'll go right into the second half of this thing. So everyone, hold on for 1 second. So you've all heard me talk about this before, but head over to patreon.com/nhbusinessshow if you want to help support the show and the New Hampshire small business community. We use the community's funds to help pay for expenses on the show that come monthly, because it's a monthly support program. So it doesn't go to things like artwork or labor, any of that type of stuff. All it goes to is, you know, keeping the studio itself running with rent and, you know, things that come out every month that I don't charge customers for. But I do ask for donations from people who, you know, feel like they want to support. And in doing that, I leave this free and open for all businesses that want to come onto the show. So if you feel that's kind of up in your alley and you want to help support local businesses, jump on over to patreon.com/nhbusinessshow. I'll leave a link in the description, and you can help us so that we can continue helping them. So I got some questions for you.
Yeah.
I originally wrote it down as jewelry versus custom jewelry, but I'm going to change that to, I guess, any product versus kind of more custom stuff like what you do. Like, do you have any, when people should buy that type of stuff, when, like, what should go into their thought processes, you know, all that type of thing? Because you can go to the store and buy earrings, or you can go and buy a necklace, but it probably means something a little differently when you go out and you buy something custom. Someone else made this. It's not just from like a normal design store.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, that was a big question.
That's okay. There are several components, I think, that go into that when you're trying to make kind of the decision on what and where you should buy. Is that kind of what you're asking? Yeah,
where, how, why, you know,
how do you choose?
There's a whole lot of stuff there, yeah.
So I think that the people that are making handmade products, regardless of what it is, could be jewelry, could be clothing, could be home supplies, food, what have you. I'm always amazed and inspired by how deeply they care about their products. And I think that buying locally or shopping small or from local crafters kind of was always on my mind, just because I thought it was a nice thing and a community thing. But the more I meet people that craft their own wares, I'm so impressed, and it constantly reminds me of the level of care that goes into creating these products. And you can walk into a store and you can buy something off the shelf, or you can buy something that was made in China, and maybe it'll cost you $5 and it'll fall behind your bed and you'll lose it in a week and you won't ever think about it again. But when you go to a store and you buy something from a vendor that sat for hours and created that product and was inspired by something and created the concept for it in their mind and thought it out and planned it out and worked it with their hands and put it in a box and packaged it for you, that's so much time and effort that went into that for you. So, I mean, as far as gift giving, I think nothing says I care about you more than giving a gift that somebody spent hours hand making, even if it wasn't you, even if it was somebody else made that. And, you know, certainly you can go into a store and get something equally as nice, but I just think that beginning to end process is so much more meaningful for really anything. And, you know, you may end up paying an extra $1 or $2 for it. You know, it might cost you a little bit more because somebody's time and effort went into making that. But I think the outcome of what you end up with is something that you value more and that you get more use out of and is probably going to be a better made product in the end. So I think if any of those factors are important to you and when you're shopping, I think that is really what drives me to buy from local small companies too.
Yeah. And I guess I get asked this a lot.
Yeah.
Why would I take the time to do what I do on the show?
Yeah.
This is exactly the reason. Like, sitting down, talking to people who have, pride in their work. They love what they do.
Yep.
They do something, again, like you were talking about crocheting a blanket. It takes like 20 hours.
Yeah.
Any big store, they probably pump out blankets at like 50 a second.
Yeah, it's just mass produced.
Yeah.
Yep. Without any thought, without any attention to quality.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's something special about getting down out of the big box stores into the small business community. That's important.
Yeah.
We forget it.
Yeah.
And we see it with like the Walmarts and the Amazons and things that are just getting crushed by these companies when there's so much there.
Right.
So that's why I do this.
And the quality suffers too.
Yeah.
Every time I go to buy something, if I need something quick on Amazon, I look through the reviews and they're constantly the same. It's the quality is not good. The customer service wasn't good. I got this thing in the mail and I never heard from a person. It's falling apart now and there's nothing I can do about it. I wasted, X amount of dollars on this.
Yeah.
It's just not quite the same experience. So, certainly there's a market for that and there's a time and a place for things like that. But if you want what you're purchasing to be meaningful in any way, in that you're thinking about excuse me, what you're consuming or what you're putting in your body or what you are wearing on your person or the gift that you're giving someone you care about, I think all of those elements are really exemplified by the fact that somebody made that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Okay, so we talked about getting creative a little bit. This is my other question. This is an area people have trouble with all the time, and I constantly get asked, when you're in a creative funk, what helps kind of get you out of that?
Well, that's a nice question. I like that. Definitely getting out and about. I love the beach. I mean, Cape Cod.
Yeah.
It's ingrained in my soul. So I love to take long drives too. I love to talk to other business owners. There's a store where I get some of my supplies, another small business in Vermont. It's like right over the state line, and I like to go to their shop because they have a great vibe in their store. I've met the store owner. I love to talk to him, and he and his wife have very similar ideals as far as environmentally conscious products, and the same kind of concepts in our businesses. So even when I'm there picking up stuff, I love to take just 5 minutes and chat with him about if they're developing anything new or they're doing a new line of fragrances or, have come up with a cool way of doing things. So I get inspired by other people's passion too when I get in a little bit of a slump. So just kind of getting back out there and getting in touch with my inspirations in the landscape, in nature, in friends and family, and then also just in what other small business owners are doing with their time too.
Cool. It's one of my favorite questions.
I like it.
Because my answers are always so much different. Because me, I drink. So
that helps.
And
some of the best things were born from that.
Yeah. So whenever I'm in like a creative slump, I'll go find something creative to do.
Yeah.
Like I'll go to an art store or something and just pop a few drinks before. And it helps. It helps quite a bit.
That gets the creativity flowing.
Yeah. So it helps. Like
absolutely.
I think it's phenomenal.
There are some great writers out there that I think would agree with you.
I think it was Ernest Hemingway.
Ernest Hemingway is who I had in mind.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's like write drunk, edit sober.
I like it.
So I think that's him. Don't quote me, but
don't mix those two up.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about, since this is an area a lot of people kind of dabble in a little bit, maybe not professionally, but so tips for newcomers that are kind of stepping into your field. They want to do something, like where do they start? What should they be focusing on? Something like that.
I guess some of the tips that I think I would have probably 3 biggest tips for somebody that wanted to break into things. The first isn't really a tip, but more just wisdom, I guess, as it's going to be hard. Like there will be hard work. You will get told no. You will hear criticisms, whether you like them or not. And all of that is okay. It's all part of the process. And you just have to stay true to yourself and learn how to filter out things that you should accept and that you should work on, and take people's advice, but not let it change you. Not let it change your brand or change your product in a way that you're not comfortable with. And it's a lot of hours. I work 2 jobs. I have 1 full-time job and a part-time job, and I'm doing this. So I pretty much get up at 8 every day and I work till midnight, 7 days a week, straight through. But that's what you have to do if you want to make it work. And when you are, when you're the sole proprietor of your endeavor, you are suddenly the social media person. You are suddenly the marketing manager. Yeah. You are the website designer. You are the product creator. You are PR. So you keep switching your hats. So it's a lot of learning. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of hours. But if it feels right and you feel tired but happy and tired but gratified, then you're doing the right thing, and you should just keep at it, because eventually it will get easier. Once the website sorted out and the marketing sorted out, like, it'll settle down. It gets a little bit easier, so push through that. The second thing I would say is don't let finances stop you, which I think is most pertinent for really small businesses or artisans. And something that I've run into all too many times is just feeling afraid to invest in something, or afraid to get started, or getting caught up in the what ifs. I started this with literally nothing. Like, with, I think, over 3 months, I don't think I've spent more than maybe $1,500, and that's for absolutely everything, for my licensing, for my inventory costs, for packaging, for fairs, for everything. So don't let money hold you back. Because you can do a lot with a little. Like, you can borrow things, or you can start out with maybe something less impressive than you wanted, but you can build up to it. Maybe your display isn't everything you wanted it to be, but it gets your product out there, and it gets your face out there, and it gets you talking to people, and it gets your business card in people's hands. So don't let that kind of curb you. Start. Just start. Just commit to starting and work from there. And then I guess the third piece of advice that I would have is use the internet. The internet is such an amazing resource for everything. If you have a question, you type it in on Google and there's an answer, or 15 of them. If you want to learn how to get better techniques with a project that you're making, or a craft that you want to try out, watch a YouTube video. Or if you need a template for something, for stickers, or I just looked up an inventory sheet template the other day. There's templates created for you. There are online support groups where you can talk to other people that own small businesses and discuss the challenges that you guys are facing together. You can market your business any way you want. You can find craft fairs, or you can find small business events and forums where you can listen to other speakers. The internet is your friend, so just making sure that you use that resource to the fullest to keep learning and to keep improving and keep kind of working to develop yourself.
Cool. Awesome. That's really good.
Thanks.
So I guess moving forward, are you looking to just keep this as kind of like a hobby? Do you want to scale this into something bigger?
Somewhere in the middle. So I actually, shameless plug, I actually am going to be in store in April at the Co-Creations Cottage right down the road.
Okay.
And I just have to say that Deborah is phenomenal there. The concepts that she has for the shop are very much in tune with mine, and trying to draw in a sense of community. And she is she does massage therapy and kind of wellness type things too. So just really bringing together community, wellness, handmade products all under one roof. It's really cool. So I'm really excited to be in there. But beyond that, I probably won't get too far out of community-based type things. So craft fairs. I have my internet stuff going too, but just because I think that will take away attention from the quality of my workmanship. Plus, I'm just one little girl. I can only make so many 20-hour blankets. But so I don't want to get too far away from making sure that I'm giving each product the attention it deserves.
Yeah.
And straying too far from producing a quality product over quantity.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, how does people? I almost messed that sentence up. How do people get a hold of you if they want to reach out, buy something, talk to you?
Sure. So I have a website. It's www.thecapecodcraftery.com. My email's on there. You can reach me by email. I have a Facebook page. It's also the Cape Cod Craftery. You can message me on Facebook. I try to be out and about in the community, and if you follow me on Facebook, I'll have events for the fairs that I'm doing. And you can certainly stop by and say hi to me at one of my fairs. But I'm more than happy to talk to anybody. I'm happy to try to give non-expert advice to anybody that's trying to get into the field, that wants to start their own business. I love to try to help other people get their passion and their dream kind of on the road. So I'm more than happy to talk to anybody that wants to reach out to me.
Awesome. So thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank
Ashleigh.
you.
Really cool.
That was fun. It was a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
It's fun talking about your business, huh?
Always.
Okay, cool. So thank you guys so much for watching, and so check all that out. And as we roll out of here, we're going to get a quick word from our sponsors, and everyone have a good day. So leadpages.net. Leadpages is a fantastic way of building very highly convertible landing pages for your business. So if you don't want to use your website for your landing pages, or you just don't know how to go about creating a landing page that draws traffic, head over to the nhbusinessshow.com/leadpages. Try it out. See if you like the program. I use it a lot, and they work super well for what we try to accomplish. So nhbusinessshow.com/leadpages, and take your business to the next level.